Welcome to All in the Words, the podcast for writers and storymakers in all their forms. In each episode, we explore a different corner of the writing world. From stage to screen, audio to novels, lyrics to scripts. With original pieces, creative conversations, and toolkits for your process. Lee here, and in this episode, we hear the story behind the monologue called Bruce. I started out my professional career as an actor, and after I graduated from drama school, most of my work was in theatre in education and theatre for young people. It soon became apparent that my passion was rooted in issue-based theatre, and that's what I like to write about. Whether it's a play for young people or adults, or a spec TV script, there's usually some social issue at the heart of my stories. A long-term project I've been working on is an anthology of plays under the banner Kitchen Sink Drama. In 2016, Hotpoint did some research, and they discovered that for many, the most important decisions in life are made in the kitchen. And that formed the premise of a series of plays that I'm writing. Important life events that come to light and play out in the one space, the kitchen. The monologue, Bruce, was a character development exercise for a story about two women, Charlotte and Lydia, who are married to each other. At a point in their relationship, they felt the time was right for them to start a family, and they asked their gay friend Bruce if he'd be a sperm donor. Everything starts out brilliantly. Lydia gives birth to a beautiful boy, and they name him Sam. But a few years down the line, and it all falls apart. Now you'll have to listen to the monologue to find out the whys and wherefores, but matters come to a head at Sam's 18th birthday celebration. The full-length play unpacks these events. Writing this monologue was an interesting exercise. It helped me to understand many nuances that inform why Bruce does what he does. The monologue has been formed a number of times at short writing festivals, and each time the actor delivering the piece has brought something different to the table, which is humbling to see. The monologue you're about to hear is written and performed by me, Lee Phillips. It contains strong language and deals with what some might consider to be adult themes. The action takes place in a pub, and Bruce is quite a long way down a bottle of red wine.
I should have listened. She always had a word of wisdom, my mum. Still does. She's the one you go to when you're in the shit. That hug she gives you makes you think you can get through anything. Mind you, there's some things you wouldn't talk about. Some things are too hard. The disappointment, it cuts you to the heart. Never says anything to show it, but you can see it in her eyes. Actions have consequences, that's what she kept saying. When I were a kid. Did my head in. But now I understand. She'd been through it as a kid. Not because of anything she'd done, but growing up, she had it hard. My mum and dad. Mum says he was an alcoholic, my granddad. I never met him. Nan left him when Mum were a kid. Bit too handy with his fists. Nan got out before he could do something that couldn't be undone, if you get my drift. So Mum and Nan, well, they were literally living hand to mouth. Mum's never touched a drop. She hates people getting drunk. Sorry, Mum. Sometimes you just have to. Cheers. It was only when she met my dad, it was only then that she started having something good in her life. Something stable. Something reliable. Because if you wanted a word to describe my dad, that's it. Reliable. He worked at the co-op, the one in the centre of town, next to the forum. He started stacking shelves when it opened, then went to work for Asda when it changed hands. Stayed there till he retired. Want one for change, my dad. So life weren't rich for me. But we had enough, and I never, not for 1 minute, thought I'd ever be without my mum and dad. Till he died. A couple of weeks ago. Nothing out of the ordinary. He was 73. I mean, I suppose some say that's still young these days, but point is, it weren't like he were in his 50s or out like that. Heart attack. At least it were quick. Kind of gets you to thinking, though. Thinking about your own life. I know he loved me, but I know he never really understood me being gay. He thought it were a choice. Couldn't get his head around it. So we never talked about it. Never said anything to his mates or at work. Which is fine, I guess. Because I know that he loved me. But it was always there. Something hanging there between us. I kept my life away from him. Never talked about boyfriends. Just kept to the usual stuff about work. He were proud of that. When I went to college, got my diploma, patisserie and confectionery, he was dead proud of that. Getting a qualification and all. And then when I was working at the hotels, the big ones in Piccadilly, he loved that. Especially the stories I told him about famous people that stayed. The thought of them eating my petit fours. I could see him literally swell up in front of me. I love working in the city. Especially when I was younger. I did my shift at the hotel, then head to Canal Street. Never short of attention. It were fun. It were great. You hook up, have fun, then move on. No ties. No questions. It wasn't just that though. I mean, I got friends. We'd hang out. That's where I met Lydia. We hit it off, became friends, good friends. Then she met Charlotte. And she became part of the group as well. Charlotte did change Lydia. They moved in together. It was serious. Took some of the fun away. I saw less of Lydia. But Charlotte made her happy, so I guess that's fine. Still, I wasn't prepared for what they were going to ask. They wanted a family. They asked me if I would give them my sperm. They were so matter of fact. Like they were asking to borrow a DVD or something. I didn't really think about it, what it really meant. Thought it was a laugh. So I said, yeah, sure. I was 26. All sounded like some crazy spontaneous thing to do. What the heck? It'd be something to talk about. So we did it. I don't mean did it. I mean I went through with it. The whole thing was a bit underwhelming. Not a grand event like you think it'll be. I was in the bathroom, just in this cup, and that were it. I mean, that weren't it. It was more involved than that. They'd sterilised the cup and everything. Then they took it into the bedroom bed. Well, I don't know what they did. Don't want to either. But it worked. After a couple of goes. Yeah. Lydia was pregnant. It's funny the effect something like that can have on you. I felt like I was the only person who'd ever got someone pregnant. Like some cocky king. strutting around, big smile on my face. But it was then that I thought about all the things I should have thought about before agreeing to it. I mean, they said up front that they didn't want me to be involved in any way. It would all be anonymous and there wouldn't be any financial liability. Charlotte kept coming out with all the formal stuff. Good job, really, because I've never had any money, spare money, not to support a kid. But there were other things as well. I mean, why me? Why ask me? Apparently, I'm quite good looking, fit and healthy, and I'm reasonably intelligent. Well, that's what they said. Oh, and I'm not camp, as if that was a factor. But why didn't they go to a sperm bank? If they wanted no involvement, just go there. There's no way the father would be involved. Charlotte did her usual coming out with all this stuff about paperwork, legal stuff and cost. Lydia just said she wanted to know what the person was like, the person whose child she was going to carry. She wanted to know that they were a good person. That's what she said. And everything went according to plan and was fine until he was born. A boy. They called him Sam. I never met him. Lydia, we'd meet for a coffee and she'd bring some pictures, tell me what he was doing when he sat up, walked, teething, all that stuff. Thing is, as you get older, you change. What you want changes. Stopped cruising, started looking for someone to be with, met a few guys, a few boyfriends. Never lasted more than a few years, 5 at most. But Sam appeared about the same time I started wanting something more. And when Lydia met me and was telling me all about what he was doing, I started getting upset, not in front of her, on my way home. Then it all went tits up. Sam was 4. They decided they wanted a brother or a sister for him, and Charlotte decided it should be her. She wanted to get pregnant. So they came knocking, asking me for more sperm, like they were shopping in Sainsbury's. That way, Sam would be blood related to his brother or sister. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go through it again. Excluded from a child's life again. A child I'd fathered. So I said no. Fuck me, the rage. Charlotte. It was like she was possessed. Shouting, swearing. Came at me a couple of times. Lydia had to step in between us. I mean, I can look after myself, but she was scary. Then they left. And I never heard from them ever again. No more updates. How Sam was doing, what he was up to. It's like he were dead to me. But today is his 18th birthday. And you see, the thing is, it's all different now, for me. Dad died, and it makes you think. It makes you think about what you've left behind. I'm a dad. He never knew you were a granddad. He would have been amazing. He'd have adored Sam. But he never knew him. And that makes me feel a bit shit. that I stopped him from having that. Same for Mum. I mean, I've never told her. Those eyes. I couldn't bear it. Telling her. Then saying that she could never meet him. So, I did something. Was it stupid? I don't know. I just don't know. I went round to see him. Sam. Lydia answered the door. She let me in. I think she was in a state of shock. But she let me in, and there he was. Sam. 18. Oh my word. What a handsome, amazing young man he's turned out to be. We chatted. I didn't let on who I was, but he told me all about himself. He's doing A-levels. My son. English lit, government and politics, history and photography. Oh, wow. And he was so polite, and he spoke so well, and he's amazing. Lydia told me all about his girlfriend. Sam were pissed off about that. He went red as anything. But he just came across as such an amazing young man. And as I listened, I was so proud and so sad, both at the same time. Sad that I'd missed out on all the stuff that had happened in his life and that I couldn't tell him who I was. But then Charlotte got home. He went nuclear. So much anger. Like she'd been storing it up for the last 14 years, building and building. And she let it all out in one go. Aimed it all at me. Blamed me that she'd missed out on a chance to be a mum. Don't get why it's my fault. That's how she saw it. But worse than anything was the look on Sam's face. He'd never seen Charlotte like this. And of course, he put two and two together and realised who I was. Man, it's like his whole world was turned upside down. His 18th birthday and all this happening in front of him. He's never going to forget this day. So I get thrown out. I never intended this. This wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't plan for Sam to know who I was. I just wanted to see him, meet him, then go on my way. Maybe build bridges with Lydia so I could get updates again, but that ain't going to happen now, is it? That's why I ended up here. Sorry, Mum. I know you hate people getting pissed, but I just needed to. Tonight. Something to blur out everything that happened. And yes, you're right. Actions do have consequences. We need to make wise choices. But sometimes it's hard to know if a choice is wise or not. If I hadn't done what I'd done, like jizzed in a cup, the world would never have known Sam. Still, it seems like I'm not going to know him anyway.
If you'd like to find out more about my various writing projects, then please do pop over to my website, lee-phillips.co.uk. Thanks for joining me for another episode of All in the Words. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate and share, and join the conversation over on the All in the Words Instagram profile. You can find any links and episode extras on the podcast website, allinthewords.podbean.com. Until next time, keep writing, because remember, it's all in the words.